Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to Real Short Talks with Ryan. I hope you are ready because I've got an important question for you today. And I think this is a really formative question that we don't spend nearly enough time thinking about. And that question is this: whose approval do you want? Right? It's natural for us to want the approval of others. As a child, we want the approval of our parents. We want them to say, hey, good job. Hey, I'm proud of you. As we get a little bit older, we want the approval of our coaches or our teachers to say, hey, I see the work that you're putting in. You're doing a good job. Hey, I'm proud of you. Hey, I like you. You know, we want the approval of our friends. We want other people to like us. As we get even a little bit older and as we work, we want the approval of our bosses. We want them to notice our hard work on behalf of the organization. And none of those things are bad in and of themselves. But as we begin to think about the approval that we are really seeking, we need to focus on seeking the approval that really matters. Psalm chapter 26, verse 4, David says, I do not sit with men of falsehood, nor do I consort with hypocrites. That's verse 4. And what he's saying is, hey, I'm not surrounding myself with these wrong people. I'm not surrounding myself with these men of falsehood, these hypocrites. Or verse 5, he says, the assembly of evildoers. I will not sit with the wicked. What he's saying here is, hey, I don't seek their approval. I don't have to be included in their company. I don't care if the world approves me. I don't care if the world says, hey, look at how successful I'm being. Who does he say that he is looking for? Well, he says it back in verse 1. He says, vindicate me, O Lord, for I have walked in integrity and I have trusted in the Lord without wavering. He says, Lord, I'm seeking your approval. I want to live that the Lord will say, hey, well done. I want to walk in the ways of the Lord. Because here's the thing, whose approval we seek dictates everything about how we live our lives. Because if we're seeking the approval of the world and if we're seeking the approval of others, well, we're going to do things that they would approve of. We're not worried about, oh, is the Lord going to be satisfied with me? We're worried about, is the world going to be satisfied with me? We'll be in verse 10, these men in whose hands are evil devices and whose right hands are full of bribes will do whatever it takes to fit in with the world. But if we say, hey, I don't care about the world and the world standards that say just do whatever it takes and just get ahead no matter the cost. If we say, hey, I care about the Lord's standards. I want to walk in integrity. Verse 11, I shall walk in my integrity. Redeem me and be gracious to me. My foot stands on level ground. In the great assembly, I will bless the Lord. If we say, hey, I'm living for the Lord's approval. I'm living for the Lord to be made known through my life. Then we're going to take those sort of actions. We're going to take actions that are full of integrity. We're going to take actions that reflect His love for the world and love for each other. So we have to ask ourselves, whose approval am I seeking? Because that's going to dictate everything about how I choose to live my life. I pray that you seek the Lord's approval and not man's. Thanks for joining me on Real Short Talks with Ryan today. We'll be back next week. And until then, go and glorify His name.